you have to be excited, right? Like if I were to walk in and see a picture of my friend at the makeup counter, I'd be like, no way, how cool.
Yeah.
And so you call and you're like, that's so cool. And they're like, but hold on, yeah, I guess that's cool, but how did they get my picture?
Welcome back, everyone, to Unseen Impact with your hosts, Kerrie and Rory. I am Rory Pendergast, the main attorney at Rory Law, and here we are at another episode of Unseen Impact, where we look at the unseen aspect of personal injury, of life, of trauma, and of stories of life. Ooh. And today, I had to write this one down because I just didn't want to forget all of these hypothetical facts we have here.
Right.
So I want to talk about a what-if scenario.
Sure.
Kerrie, you ready to?
If this were to happen.
If this were to happen, I think, we're in a world of social media.
Right.
We're in a world of pictures. We're in a world of videos. Everybody's always watching stuff. So imagine, if you will, you have a story about personal violation, about unauthorized use of stuff, about where there's no permission for items. And we're not talking about dealing with little children. We're talking about a story. So imagine this one, hypothetical. You have a daughter who is 18, 19, 20, lives in a different state. You walk into a shopping mall, you go to a big name store, and you're looking at these big name makeup products. And
right. So you're at the cosmetic counter at your local sort of Macy's-ish store.
Yeah.
Nordstrom, something. We all know the cosmetic counter.
And you spend, besides like getting, knocked over with the smell of everything, but you're there and you see a photo of your kid.
Imagine how proud you are.
You're proud.
You're like, oh my God, she made it. There
I knew she wanted to do it.
Yes.
And so what do?
You call her right away.
Immediately. And your expectation is?
She's just as excited.
Jumping for joy.
That's right.
And you say, oh, this is so amazing. You did it. This is amazing.
I'm so proud of you.
Mom, what do you mean?
Right.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm standing here at the makeup counter in XYZ store, and there's a picture of you.
And you have no idea what happened.
Right.
So, of course, she's going to take a picture of that, text it to you. You're looking at it, and you think, oh, my goodness, I remember doing that.
That's right.
But I did not give authorization for use that.
No.
I gave no permission to use that. And so what you want to look at, at first you're thinking, hey, this is fantastic. But is it?
Right. Well, because you have to be excited, right? Like if I were to walk in and see a picture of my friend at the makeup counter, I'd be like, no way, how cool.
Yeah.
And so you call and you're like, that's so cool. And they're like, but hold on. Yeah, I guess that's cool. But how did they get my picture?
Yeah. And then think about it. If you're the one who's you're trying, this is what's so the dichotomy of it. You're trying to get there.
Right. Because, in this hypothetical situation, this girl is an aspiring model.
Aspiring model. You want to see what's going on.
Right. So she goes to take some photos, right? And she
Take
does
some
her
photos.
makeup, and it's like really cool. It's not just like...
Well, we're going to get there.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get there. I want to talk a little bit about, is this a case? Do you think there's a case right there?
Well, something doesn't feel right. Like something feels wrong. I guess I would think if there's some giant company and they're using my picture, they never asked me, they didn't pay me. There should be something. I should be aware before my mother sees it at the department store.
Yes, and in California, there's something called use of likeness.
Okay.
And what I've got to tell you is that use of likeness, although they are kind of small words, it's a small phrase, they are very, very powerful. And so essentially what it means is that if you're going to use a photo, an image, a video, somebody's voice, and you're going to try and make money off of it, right? You have to have permission. You have to have consent. You have to be able to say, yes, that person said it's okay that I do this. And if you don't, there are some serious, serious consequences. So these laws here's what's wild. These laws were written well before kind of your social media frenzy. And so this just had to do with people's, they'd have a picture taken, it'd get used, it'd hit big. The company would make money off of it. And then the person whose, shoulders it was brought from doesn't get anything. And so there's, with it, you have there's certain statutory penalties. So because someone
Like
has
what's
to.
a statutory penalty? Like a certain time it runs out?
Very
You get
good
money?
question. Because when you look at it like anything in personal injury, you have to have some sort of harm, some sort of damage. You know, if you're in a car crash and somebody hurts you, you know, you hurt your neck, you have a damage, you have pain, you go to the doctor. This one, there may not be a physical pain. And so they say it might be hard to actually say, how were you in particular harmed? So they just say, hey, we're going to say you were harmed, so there's a statutory penalty. So we say, okay, $1,000 a pop or whatever it might be. And then the kicker, attorney's fees. Now, what that means is me, the attorney, this happens to you, Kerrie, and you come to me, the attorney, and I say, oh, yeah, let's do this. Rather than get like a contingency fee, a contingency fee means a part of the settlement, because the typical personal injury
like
is
a portion of whatever is awarded.
Yeah, and instead of getting that, I get to go to the court and I say, hey, I get these damages for her, these statutory damages, and then that person has to pay me my fees per hour for fighting it. So you could have a seemingly small sort of case turn into some big numbers. And so that gets me back to this one.
Oh, but wait, so back to the attorney's fees, because nobody likes to pay attorney's fees.
Nobody likes to pay
Even if your
attorney's
attorney
fees.
does a good job for you, people don't love the attorney's fees portion, especially like big companies who have to pay your fees.
Well, and so here's the differences is that from the plaintiff side personal injury attorney, it's a percentage. And
Right, so there isn't the fee piece.
there's, there's no money out of your pocket.
Right.
And so the only way...
Unless you win.
Yeah. You know, did you get the money you deserve?
That's right. That's what my father likes to say.
That's what your father always likes to say.
Did you get them the money they deserve, Rory?
Every day, Jack. Every day. Now you're making me lose my track of thought.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so getting back to this one,
Back
how did we get to this? How did we get to where mom in this hypothetical scenario, the hypothetical mom is hypothetically calling the hypothetical daughter?
Right.
Daughter who wants to be an aspiring model.
Right.
Aspiring model. She has a friend who is a photographer, and they go out and they take some photos.
Right.
And
so she's aware she's getting some photos taken, and she's probably going to take those photos and like shop them around or do something.
Yeah, what do they call them? Like the headshots, the portfolio, whatever it is.
Right. So she's building her portfolio. She's taking some photos.
And then somehow maybe the photographer works with somebody, or somehow works with a large makeup company that these photos get shared.
Right. Well, because maybe this photographer is also like, damn, I took some good pictures, right? So he's psyched. So he's probably coming from a really good place of like, I'm going to share all of these images, and then...
He has his own portfolio.
Exactly right.
He has his own...
He's looking for his own in.
His own in.
Yeah.
Now, so the funny thing is that for most of I am no makeup expert.
No.
I am no makeup expert, but I have a slight understanding of some of these things. And from a power dynamic... Big, huge, large makeup company, 18-year-old aspiring model. Who has the power?
It's an easy one.
Which also kind of gets into why the law is set up as it is. This is truly David and Goliath.
Right.
Right? This is
you can see that.
This is the giant in the room, in the world, that is going to step on all these little Davids if there's not some sort of protection, if there's not some sort of if we're not evening the playing field. And then more than that, a law is nothing, right? A law is nothing unless you have somebody to fight for it.
Right.
So getting to that one, so now we know kind of how that photo got there.
Right.
Hypothetically.
Right.
Now what we want to see is this. So what do you do? Your mom calls, hey, thank you this is amazing.
I probably will turn around and call the photographer.
That's a good point.
Right? I'm probably going to call the photographer and be like, hey, man, like my mom just saw my picture at the makeup counter at the department store. And then he's going to be like, he's probably going to be like, nice, my photo.
Which I would too, right?
He's like, wow, I'm super psyched. Good for me. And then she's like, but hold on.
And I guess this is what it comes down to from my interest in these cases, and not just this case, it's about everything. It's about having some control right? And not in some sort of weird, you put the hanger hanging the wrong way sort of control. This is like a basic control of your life and what's going on and what's happening here. And this is what's kind of a funny thought when you have to really dive into it, is look at it. This is hypothetically somebody who wanted to be a model.
Right, who wants this.
Who wants this, all of this
Right.
stuff.
Right.
But she didn't know.
Right.
She didn't approve. There was no authorization, no permission.
Right.
And all of that leads to this personal violation.
Sure, yeah. I guess if I were to walk in somewhere and see my picture, I would be like, whoa. Well, actually, it happened once.
Where's that? Oh,
It happened once. It'd be a long sidebar, but
we've got time.
oh, really? Okay, so in the Peace Corps, right before we went into Peace Corps, one of our friends got married, and I was in the wedding, and so I had brought all of these pictures with me to Guatemala.
You're saying you were in Massachusetts. You had pictures taken in Massachusetts. You take these pictures with you back when they had actually
back when they were printed on Kodak paper.
You take them to Guatemala.
Yeah, and then of course you remember you used to get doubles, and so I had doubles, and some of them were kind of crappy pictures or whatever. So I threw them away in my trash in Guatemala.
Yes.
And then, like,
Dun, dun,
I put them in the
dun.
garbage bag. I put it outside.
Hold on. And then without authorization,
my likeness,
without permission,
my likeness,
which led to a feeling of personal violation.
So then,
but for real,
for real, like I'd go into somebody's house. I've never been there. It's like the next village over, and all the pictures from the wedding are on their walls. All these pictures, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's me and my friends. And they're like, oh yeah, we love these pictures. They didn't have anything else on their walls. And my friend, she's in her beautiful wedding gown. She's got blonde hair and blue eyes. And so they're like, oh, she's an angel. Remember they used to call her angel? And I really wanted to take them.
Yeah.
Because they weren't theirs.
Yeah.
But then I felt bad. They had no other decorations. I don't think our friend would mind. And so anyway, it was a very awkward moment to find myself on the wall of somebody else's house.
I
forgot about that.
Totally forgotten about
Right?
that. But how spot on is that?
Yeah.
That you consented to the photo.
Right.
You consented. Clearly, you consented to taking the photo with you because you did.
Right.
You're the one who threw it away.
I know, I threw it
Hey,
away.
dummy, you didn't
I
burn
know,
it. You
I
just
know.
threw it away.
Listen, I ripped them up after that. when I
And
threw
yet,
things
this
away.
feeling, I think this nails it exactly what we're trying to say here.
I know,
Like, what is the
that's funny.
purpose of it? So that argument
Right.
of, because here's the thing, is that in the hypothetical situation, this big behemoth of a makeup company.
Yeah, like to be clear, like if there's a woman listening, she's using this makeup. Oh, I can't say that. I'm sorry, I take it back.
But so
It's all hypothetical. Carry on.
what it comes back to is the idea that even though you were going this way, and this big behemoth of a company probably would have paid $100 for this photo.
Right.
And if you're the one doing it, you're going to sign off on it.
That's right. Because I'm going to be psyched to
7
have
days
my
a
image
week
out there.
7 days a week, you're going to sign off on it. You're going to
Right.
take them, and then you get it in your portfolio.
That's
Hey,
right.
Not only is it a photo of the portfolio, it's a photo that was used somewhere. Now you get to go in it.
It's part of my resume, right?
But-
I get to go out and say, hey, here's me. They used me here.
But when you have that sort of sense of personal violation
Right.
that this big company uses, and then
Right.
now when you get into the actual idea of it, is that okay? They're going to make if we're crossing state lines, they're pumping a bunch of money into it. Why? Are they pumping a bunch of money into it to lose money, or are they pumping a bunch of money in it to make money?
That's right. Of course.
To
yeah.
make money.
Yeah, they thought the image was, good enough to draw people in.
So ultimately what these type of cases, what happens with them is you have kind of this sort of low sort of cost if they would have done it the right way.
Right.
And it costs a lot more
Right.
when you do it the wrong way.
Right.
And what it comes down is that, it's, and luckily she just, this person, hypothetically,
Right.
had a sense, and I'm sure this happens like you did. You have
Right.
this sense that, hey, this
Doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. So it's unjust. Now, granted, your situation in Guatemala was slightly different where it was at.
I did throw it away.
But what do most people do in that scenario?
I think a lot of people probably just tell their friends. They can probably complain a little like, oh my God, I can't believe what. But I don't know that people would consult an attorney. I wonder what would make somebody in this scenario consult an attorney. Do you know?
Well, I mean, I think some of it is that people just, they have the same sort of feelings that you were describing.
Yeah,
and
just
I think
feeling like
it's
not
this
right.
wasn't, we hear it from from our kids. Hey, you don't have permission. You didn't have the authorization. They may not use that exact
Right.
word.
No, our daughters say, you didn't ask if you could borrow my book.
You didn't ask if you could borrow my book. But it's the same thing. You didn't authorize this.
Right.
It's a personal violation. There's a wrong.
Right.
And so I think some people, they hit a point of knowing, hey, this is a wrong enough to where I need to speak out. And maybe they know somebody who knows an attorney, or maybe they've had an attorney before. But what should anybody do?
Right. What should they do?
Well, what they should do is call.
Right.
Just call an attorney. Like, I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't matter who it is, right? But still,
Well, it should be Rory Law.
It should be Rory Law. It should be Rory Law. Because what most of us do, what we do is we're there to answer questions. That's it.
Right.
And I mean, I've answered some wild questions. I've spent hours on the phone with people.
Well, actually, people always be like, is that something I could ask Rory? I'm like, I think you can ask Rory anything.
You can ask me anything.
Yeah.
If I know, I will give you my answer.
Yeah.
If I don't know, I'll try to look it up. And if I still don't know, then I'll get you to the person who does know what it is.
Right.
And all of that comes at zero cost.
Right.
And now in this hypothetical situation, hypothetically, if that person would have done that, it would have done quite well for her.
Right. Right. Okay, so like if somebody were to call you right now and they're like, hey, and they told you this whole story, you'd be like, that's a good case right off the bat? Or is that something you would have to think about?
So, I mean, I've done it long enough to where most of these things, I know I know what questions I need to ask. You know, so
Yeah.
if it's just an intake person, I know my intake folks know what questions to ask them to ask me.
Oh,
Maybe I
okay.
know immediately, ooh, Eureka, all of those things sound good. Big behemoth makeup company,
Right.
no consent, photo in a different state,
Yeah.
cha-ching, that's a
Yeah.
great case.
Right.
But oftentimes what will happen is I'll be able to kind of look into it, ask some further questions. I've gotten good at kind of inquiring on some of these things. I might have to look some stuff up.
Okay.
Sometimes I can do it on the phone while you're talking. But the biggest thing is just to call, to ask, to start it off, and then we can kind of see.
Right.
The worst thing that can happen is that it kind of fizzles out and nothing goes on.
Well, I think that what happens is people don't want to like lawyer up. I think they feel like, oh, if I'm getting an attorney, it's making it a bigger deal and it's not worth it. Or I don't want to be one of those people. Like,
Yes.
I feel like we hear that all the time.
We
Like,
hear it all the time.
That's not, well, and maybe if our friend comes on, we had that one thing we talked about. This is like a little, what do they call those? Easter eggs?
The Easter
Where you-
eggs
where you
about
drop
what is
something
to
that might come
come.
later.
Here's what is to come.
Yeah. So, but people don't want to until they do. Like if, for example, in this hypothetical case, if this individual had a connection with an attorney, then it's easier to call and just
Correct.
ask a quick question, right? But people who don't, it's harder to pick up the phone. It's harder to figure out who to call, what you're supposed to ask. Does this sound dumb? You know, if I were like 18, 19 years old, I'd be like, oh, I probably would not have done anything.
Well, it's very tough, and that's a good point. And this comes down to anything, no matter what it may be, because we've had really good friends of ours who know exactly what I do, and they're asking you, is this something, like they're
Yeah.
hesitant, and they wait a while to ask you about it.
I'm like the filter.
You are the
I'm
filter.
like a little Rory filter, and
You're
they
the
come
filter.
and I'm always like, I don't know. It sounds like you should ask Rory.
Should you ask me?
I'm like, I have no idea.
And then they do, and then they're surprised that I answer the phone, and then we go over it, and we go
No,
over this
yeah,
stuff.
It's true.
But I mean, that's kind of the big thing about it, is that you have to start by just asking.
Right.
And so with that,
Yeah.
I would say if anything comes up, whether it's a use of likeness, whether it's social media, whether it's that you find your picture hanging on the wall in the village in Guatemala, call me.
Call
I'll
Rory.
tell you where I was at. We can talk about it. But the biggest thing is that power is in knowledge. And when you have the knowledge, you have the power. And when you have the power, you're the one who has the ability to make the decisions on whether, hey, this was a wrong and I want to move forward, or maybe it wasn't quite the wrong and I'm not going to move forward. But you're the one who gets to make that decision. And that's a lot of what we're doing here in the podcast, The Unseen Impact, is to see that unseen side of it. That part that nobody kind of really thinks about or experiences, and we want to kind of bring it to light. And I thought we did a pretty good job today.
Well, if you happen to see yourself images from your Instagram on a commercial,
Yeah.
you should call Rory.
Yeah, and so with that, I would say not only call Rory, but listen to the podcast. Rate, review, subscribe. We're on all the social media platforms. You can watch the podcasts on YouTube, or you can listen on your favorite podcast platform.
Thank you.
Bye now.